Well, grandson, let me tell you how we got to this day. It's a story of divine promises, determination, and a passion for life. Long, long ago, our journey began with Abraham. In a moment of divine revelation, God made a sacred promise to him.
Abraham, I am the Lord who brought you out of Ur of the Chaldeans to give you this land to take possession of it.
In Jerusalem, the very same Jerusalem, our eternal capital, our ancestors built the temple, the holiest place for Jews, the house of God. Within its sacred walls, every prayer and every stone testified to a covenant of hope and life. But even sacred promises are tested. The Romans came, and with them, destruction. They tore down our temple and exiled our people from our beloved land. Yet, even in exile, our spirit and our connection to this land endured. Even when Islam began to rise 500 years later, their book made sure to mention God's promise to the Israelites.
And remember when Moses said to his people, "O my people, remember Allah's favors upon you when He raised prophets from among you, made you sovereign, and gave you what He had never given anyone in the world. O my people, enter the holy land which Allah has destined for you to enter, and do not turn back, or else you will become losers."
Even after our people were exiled, our promise endured. In Europe, Jewish communities kept our customs and dreams alive. In Arab lands, many safeguarded their traditions, and those who remained in the land of Israel quietly held on to hope. Then came the Holocaust, a dark time when millions of our people were brutally taken from us. This tragedy scarred our souls, but also forged an unbreakable will to survive. From that darkness, we emerged determined to honor every lost life and keep our light shining. In 1947, the world recognized our right to return, and the UN decided to divide the land of Israel into two states, one Jewish, one Arab. Though this division did little for historical justice, we embraced it with hope. Yet beneath our joy, the Arabs, rejecting our presence, launched a war to wipe us out. As hostility mounted, we did not choose the path of violence. Even when fear gripped our hearts, we fought back, not out of a thirst for war, but to defend the right to live. In every battle, we strove to protect life, even as those who opposed us clung only to hatred and destruction. Then came our rebirth. With our hearts full of hope, David Ben-Gurion declared the birth of the State of Israel, a new chapter in our ancient story. Almost immediately, 6 Arab armies attacked, determined to destroy us. But with courage and unity, we defended our home and emerged victorious, proving once again that our right to live and build a future would never be taken away. After the war, our people flooded into our new homeland. With hope and determination, Jews from every corner of the world came to Israel, building homes, planting trees, and creating a modern nation from our ancient dreams. Every brick laid and every seed sown was a promise of life. Yet even as we worked to nurture a bright future, our enemies cared only for destruction, always seeking to undo everything we had built. In 1967, after a long time of tension and threats that shook us to our core, we faced a mighty war. With all our strength, we fought for 6 fast days. By the end, we'd taken the Sinai Peninsula and Gaza Strip from Egypt, the Golan Heights from Syria, and freed Jerusalem, our heart and capital, from Jordan. When the dust settled, we held out our hands, ready to give back those lands for peace. But the Arabs turned away, saying no. This rejection had a price. In 1973, on Yom Kippur, our holiest day, Egypt and Syria launched a surprise attack. Tanks poured across our borders, and for a moment it seemed our young nation might fall. Our soldiers fought bravely, often outnumbered, holding the line with everything they had. Slowly, with determination and sacrifice, we turned the tide. This war, like others before it, wasn't one we chose. Yet it proved once more that our will to live and our right to exist would prevail against all odds. A few years later, in 1979, something remarkable happened. We found common ground with Egypt. After the Yom Kippur War, Egypt realized they could not defeat us militarily, that they would never regain their territory through war, but only through peace. We returned the entire Sinai Peninsula, a strategic territory with military significance, all for the promise of peace. This showed the world our true desire, not conquest, but coexistence. Years passed, and in 1993, we reached out again. On the White House lawn, handshakes were exchanged, and the Oslo Accords were signed. We believed peace was finally within reach. We offered land and recognition, hoping for tranquility in return. But instead of peace, the Arabs chose violence. Our streets filled with fear as the Intifada began. Suicide bombers blew themselves up on buses, restaurants became targets, and innocent families were torn apart. While we mourned each life lost, Arab and Jewish alike, others celebrated their deaths as martyrs. In 2005, seeking to create another chance for peace, we made a painful decision. We withdrew completely from Gaza, removing every Israeli citizen and soldier. We left behind greenhouses and infrastructure, hoping the Arabs would build something beautiful. But instead of building schools or hospitals, Hamas seized control, rather than focusing on creating a better life for their people. They turned the Gaza Strip into a terror strip and dug tunnels to hide like rats from the very places where we had hoped peace would grow. Missiles rained down on our kindergartens and homes. Then came October 7th, 2023, a day of darkness we will never forget. Hamas launched thousands of rockets and invaded our communities. They massacred families in their homes, kidnapped innocent children, women, and the elderly. The images of that day are burned into our collective memory, a reminder of our misconception that we can make peace with these people. We had no choice but to respond. With heavy hearts but firm resolve, we entered Gaza to dismantle the terrorist infrastructure that had caused so much suffering and to bring our hostages back. Throughout the operation, we dropped leaflets, made phone calls, and sent text messages to warn civilians, actions our enemies would never consider. Even in war, we did everything to sanctify life. The fighting was difficult, and Gaza lay in ruins. The world watched, often judging us harshly for defending ourselves, forgetting that we had been attacked first. But we persisted, determined to create a future where Israeli children would never again have to run to bomb shelters. At a defining moment that reshaped history, President Trump, the President of the United States, the greatest superpower in the world and our most steadfast ally, recognized that Gaza needed a fresh start. He proposed relocating those who wished to leave to other countries where they could build better lives, while America would help rebuild Gaza itself. Many were skeptical, but those who truly wanted peace saw an opportunity. And so, grandson, that brings us to today, 2040. Look around you. This hotel, these beaches, the children playing without fear, all of it seemed impossible not long ago. Where once stood ruins, now stands hope. Where rockets once launched, families now vacation. The journey hasn't been easy, and there is still work to be done. But we've learned that when we choose life over death, building over destruction, and hope over hatred, miracles can happen. That's the lesson I hope you'll carry forward. Choose life always.